Hey guys, as many of you probably know, but if you somehow don't, Minecraft Live was just 2 days ago, and they talked about a few different things, including a new biome, some new items, and a new mob, and a Minecraft movie. But what we're going to focus on today is specifically the new biome called the Pale Garden, and the new mob called the Creaking, and some of the other items associated with it. And I need to turn out this video much quicker than I normally would, so we're going completely unscripted, so here we go. So the new biome is called the Pale Garden, and it's a reskinned dark oak forest for the most part, except they've added some new stuff like moss, but pale moss and then hanging roots, with the goal of giving it a more eerie feel. However, unlike their dark oak counterparts, these pale trees harbor a little bit more danger than you might expect. Within some of the trees of this forest, the Creaking heart can spawn in the trunks of these trees, which in turn spawns the new mob, the Creaking. This creature camouflages itself in with the trunks of the trees and is most easily spotted by its glowing orange eyes. It will not spawn during the day, only appearing at night, and it cannot be directly damaged. The only way to defeat a Creaking is to find the corresponding Creaking heart within the trees and break it. Though of course hitting the Creaking will trigger a particle effect that will point you in the right direction. The Creaking itself possesses weeping angel-esque mechanics, only approaching when you're not looking at it. Now, in my humble opinion, conceptually, these additions are really great, but I think that they're in danger of falling flat for a couple of reasons that I will now discuss. First of all, the one that matters the least, but the one I can't stop thinking about is, why is this biome called the Pale Garden? Why not call it the Pale Forest? From what they've shown, it's literally a dark oak forest, but with a nice Tim Burton texture pack on it, so why call it garden? What about this as a garden? And we can use that to segue into the trees themselves. They're just dark oak trees, but when we look at the sapling, it looks really different, with branches that come up high and curve down, really like twisted, a little more like evil looking tree, if you will. Which begs the question, why don't the pale trees look like this? All the other tree saplings are just miniature versions of the tree themselves, so why is this one different? Hopefully they'll rework it, but that's a change that I think would make this biome feel a lot more unique, as if the trees actually had this like big curving, twisting appearance. To really make the Pale Garden, which should be renamed the Pale Forest, really unique, they need to make unique trees. Moving on to the Creaking itself, conceptually it's great, but I think they haven't taken it far enough. In the Minecraft Live after show, Jens and Marco played a little game against one another where the first person to go out and return 7 Creaking hearts to a centerpiece wins. And this challenge, in which they wore no armor of any kind, I think really showcases how much of a non-threat the Creaking actually is. I mean, in this clip here, we can say he only takes 1 heart of damage with no armor. If that's all they can do to an unarmored player, you can only imagine how iron, diamond, or God forbid netherite would absolutely negate the damage. Additionally, the Creaking that they showed off at Minecraft Live is too slow. We also see in the after show challenge that by sprint jumping you can easily outrun them. That being said, I do really like the animation and the way they walk. It's very unsettling if you were to see this coming towards you and suddenly stop. With all of that said, I believe that the Creaking is a really good concept and a brilliant idea. It just needs a few tweaks to save it from just being forgettable. So let's break down these tweaks real quick. First problem, the Creaking is too slow. As I already said, by sprint jumping you can easily outrun one Creaking or even a whole group of them. I think that the Creaking needs to be fast. For example, like the Coilheads in Lethal Company. Shit! Run! They are so quick that turning away from them for even a second could result in your instant and horrific death. Now, we would have to be careful not to go too far as to make them overpowered, like the Coilheads in Lethal Company, which, if in groups, are practically inescapable.
Michael, beat me! Oh my god!
But we certainly want it to be a threatening presence. I think if the Creaking was only a little bit faster than the player by, say, 5 or 10%, then this would be a good change. This would mean that in the short term, you could sprint jump and escape them, but the longer you ran, the more likely it would be that the Creakings would actually catch up to you. This way, in a pinch, you'd be able to put some distance between yourself and them, but you wouldn't be able to run for long, which would serve to raise the stakes of a Creaking encounter, while ultimately not making them too dangerous. This is a line that the game Subnautica treads really well. They use various tactics to instill pure terror while not having the creatures lose their fear factor by killing the player too easily. The second one's a little bit more obvious. I think they should do more damage. I don't think that it should be Warden levels where they're just absolutely insane, but only half a heart or 1 heart to an unarmored player is not enough. They should do like 2 or 3 hearts at least. the amount of damage they do obviously would be dependent on how many spawned, and we didn't get too much of an idea of how many creaking you could expect to encounter in a given biome. I don't have a metric on, you know, creakings per chunk. So if they're very common, then it makes sense for them to do like 2 damage, but not if they can't catch you, which is what we already talked about. I think those basic suggestions would really improve the new changes, and especially for the creaking, just making it a little bit faster than the player and maybe do a little bit more damage to just make it a little bit more threatening. Obviously, we don't want it to be like overpowered or insane like some of the horror mods you encounter, just to raise the stakes a little bit to make it feel like you're actually in danger. Basically all my main thoughts and tweaks that I thought would be reasonable changes to add that would help the creaking and the pale forest be a lot better. I think what they've given us is good, but with these tweaks, it could be great. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Hope you guys agree. If you're not already, consider liking, subscribing, and yeah, till next time.